My father, I don't know if you have that on there. My father was a very, very tall man, but I don't know how tall. Could have been. There he is,
Wow.
top right.
And he was never in your life.
Well, he left us. I must have been 7. Must have been 7 years.
Did you
of
ever
age.
establish a relationship with him or no? Never.
Sure,
Once you got famous?
on that level. But after he left, he kept sending letters and stuff, and I would never answer. But as soon as I made the money, as my mother would call the money,
Yeah.
not as soon as I made money, I bought him houses and supported him, and he got married at least 4 or 5 other times and had kids and everything. And there may be other.
Why did you you obviously had a problem with him leaving. You didn't answer his calls.
I never thought of it that way because, you've got the ids, the super,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So what you deal with consciously may not be what's going on under the surface.
Right.
I've never done the shrink stuff. But, when you go to sleep, you have dreams which supposedly are closer to what you feel and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's some wounds in there that I.
Well, he left, and did he leave to another state? You just didn't see him.
Yeah. Did he explain why he left? Was he like, I just couldn't handle it? Or?
You could point to Israel was a new country. You couldn't. It was difficult to survive. There was no infrastructure, no poured concrete roads. It was just all dirt. You'd be shocked. I never heard of television until we came to America. We didn't have a radio. We had an ice box.
Right. You came to the States when you were 8, and he left when he was 7. So you were in Israel when he left.
Yeah. So there was nothing. I didn't know. We didn't see cars or buses or anything. There were mules pulling stuff. I mean, like
Yeah.
real time machine stuff.
Remember, Israel is only 75 years old as a country.
Yeah.
So it's as old as Gene is.
Although shockingly, it is one of the top 3 places of inventions. In fact, this was invented by Motorola in Haifa.
The phone case?
Star Wars
No,
technology. They are the leading country that way outperforms most countries on the planet.
You mean the Jews are innovative? I've never heard that. Like Hollywood,
Don't get into that.
Hollywood monotheism. We can go stainless steel.
Have you got? Oh boy, this is going to get me in so
Have
much.
you-
deep
I know,
trouble.
I know
Bring
what you're
it,
saying.
Gene. What do you
Now,
got?
can you plug this in there? I know. Ready?
Yep.
I know what you're going to say. Can I say what you're going to say?
What?
You're
You're going to say how many Jews have won Nobel Prizes?
No.
Okay.
How many Jews are in the
What they've
NBA?
invented?
No.
All right. Go on.
What's 12 inches in Jewish? Nothing. Okay.
All right. I was actually going to plug that
I
in.
can say that.
She was about to type that in.
Okay,
12
put
inches.
this up there. This is
Yeah.
actually, it's not a Jewish journal. It's not an Israeli
It's not Haaretz.
thing. It's none of that stuff. You'll see where it's from. R-A-R-E, Ashkenazi, A-S-H-K-E-N, Ashkenazi, Jews. Here we go. The smartest people on earth. See, National Institute of Health.
Yeah.
Are Jews smarter than everyone else? It's actually true.
Well, their
Off
IQ
the
tests
charts.
are off the charts.
Off the charts.
That is the bell curve. That's one of the more inconvenient truths that people don't talk about. But if
Yeah.
you look at
Sorry.
where Ashkenazis, but then again, if you look at Sigmund Freud
It
or people that
says
broke the mold,
Ashkenazi Jews of
Einstein.
European origin who test higher than any other ethnic group. The overall IQ means somewhere between a half and a full standard deviation above the mean, with the source of difference concentrated on the verbal component. It means Einstein and Freud. That's what it means.
That's right.
Sorry.
I mean, Hollywood was, really the main studios were started by four
not
Polish
main.
Jews.
All
All
of
of
them.
them,
They
Ryan.
invented
Musicians.
They invented a business. All of them, Paramount,
I
Universal,
know.
are all Jews
all
who
Jews.
changed their names.
Eastern
Warner
European
Brothers.
Jews.
And there was never a business. They invented it. The international banking were invented by the Rothschilds.
Yeah, they control all of it.
Interest on loans invented by the Jews. On and on and on.
Well, also,
But
also
I want to
improv.
say something
that's a
about
good thing.
our Semitic brothers and sisters, because when you say Semite, it means anti-Semitic means Jewish. No, it also means Arabs.
Yes.
And what became Muslims, because originally Arabs were not Muslims. Pre-Muslim Islam is about 1,500 years old or so. But Arabs were the center, especially even in Persia, which was not. They're not Arabs; they're Persians. We use Arabic numbers, astronomy, all kinds of things were invented by the Arabs. It bears noting pre-Islam, before that came. So, at any rate, today that's what those studies say. I can't wait for the hate mail. Everybody's got something to say.
Yeah, the anti-Jewish hatred is at an all-time high right now.
It's never been.
Yeah, it's never been.
It's the same story for 6,000 years.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
okay.
That's right. That's
Yeah, you
that
seem to
is-
be doing all right.
Everybody gets hatred of some kind from
Correct.
somewhere, and we've got to watch out for each other, because if you don't, you're next.
That's right.
Yes.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. There's a great letter that the Hebrew Center, I think it's called, wrote to George Washington. George Washington wrote to basically saying in Newport, because a lot of people don't realize that the Jews were here as early as 1700.
Yeah.
And so they had communities and everything else. And one of the things that there's a famous letter that from Newport, a Jewish center wrote to George Washington, basically saying, "Are we safe?"
Yeah.
And it's a famous letter because George Washington essentially said, "This is a country where everyone can live under their own fig leaf, under
God
their own
bless
vine."
America.
Yeah, and
And the reason the Jew back in the 1700s was saying, "Are we safe?" is because that's been a concern of people of
Forever.
that faith since
Yeah, forever.
6,000 years.
Yeah.
pogroms. Well, we're learning history here.
By the way, a note to our African American brethren:
yes,
there's no female version. There's no sisterin. There's just brethren.
yeah,
So people talk about ghetto all the time, but it's not a black term. No,
No.
it's not.
It's a Jewish term, yeah?
That is correct. It comes from during the Renaissance. That's how they pronounce it.
Renaissance.
Renaissance. We say
That's
it's like
French, sorry.
Renaissance. That's right, French word. So the Italians, because it was a trading center, all the spices and the materials and stuff would go through there. People would make their money, and it would go to the rest of the world. And so Jews became very successful because they already had a banking system. They would loan people money and charge interest, which if you were Christian, by edict of the Pope, you were not allowed to do. Never
right.
a
Same thing in
lender
Islam,
or
by the way.
borrower be.
Yep. In Islam too, you couldn't practice usury.
You could, that's right. You're not allowed to, put interest on the money. And Jews said, why not? I'm giving you money and you're using it. I can't use it, so give me a little
You're
bit
renting
more
my
when
money.
you give it back. Yeah, makes perfect business sense.
Creates a lot of
And
money.
hence the banking system was invented. So Jews did very well, but they were, of course, hounded and people would try to kill them. And even the rich Jews around the Medici period in Italy were not allowed to live among the general population. They were allowed to live where the city-states, because Rome was a city-state, Florence was a city-state, there was no such thing as Italy initially, they were allowed to live where they baked bricks to make buildings. That area was called the ghetto, Getta. Jews lived in the ghetto, where the smoke and the stuff, 24 hours a day, they'd be baking bricks and making them whole because
Place you
of
don't want to
pollution.
live, yeah.
Ghetto is a Jewish term.
Getta. You see
In
that?
fact, before, during World War II, it was the Warsaw Ghetto. It's where the Jews of Poland tried to hide in an area. Of course,
Yep.
they couldn't.
Yep.
Ghetto's a Jewish term.
Yep.
Now you know.